Fair warning, what you are about to watch is lost media. It is a episode from 2 years ago, back before I had a decent mic that was intended to be the pilot of this series. I've revamped it with decent audio, and everything else has been kept exactly the same, so if it seems kinda off, that's why. Enjoy the video. Hey howdy hey everybody, it is I, the Geography Goat, who will talk about geography, with goats. On this first episode I'm going to talk about a debate so valuable, so thoroughly enriching, so intensely important to the future of the Balkan states that it left the parties involved in economic crises and resulted in decades of loathing. That's right, it's time to talk about country names, specifically the country of Fyrom, or Macedonia, or North Macedonia, or former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, or Macedon, or that one country that Greece really doesn't like. But Goat, you ask, why are there so many names for the same country? Well, it all boils down to one guy who lived several thousand years ago and invented new and wonderful ways to torture people. This guy was Alexander the Great, and even today he's a pretty big deal in Greece for the whole conquering everything thing, and the fact he's arguably the most famous Greek that ever lived, with the obvious exception to Julius Caesar and Zach Galifianakis. Anyway, my boy Alex lived way back in ancient Greece and came from a place known as Macedon, a region that makes up the northern part of modern-day Greece, and you guessed it, the country of Macedonia. Now, before 1991, Macedonia was actually part of the big Balkan conglomeration hell world known as Yugoslavia. But then a little thing called the fall of the USSR happened, and the little countries that all hated each other in the Balkans started splitting apart pretty fast. Some of which are still splitting to this day. Poor Kosovo. Anyway, so when all that jazz went down, Greece had a state, and still does have a state, in their northern provinces called Macedonia. So when this brand new, freshly un-USSR'd country is squirted into being, calling itself Macedonia, Greece is understandably kinda pissed about it. Hey man, that's our culture you're borrowing. To make matters more frustrating for the Greeks, the Macedonian flag at this point in time was the Virgina sun, an ancient Greek symbol that's all over the place down there. So Greece kinda has a valid point, given that Macedonia is far more Slavic at this point in time than they are Greek, that they're stealing culture. But Macedonia's got some fair counterpoints too about how silly the overall thing is. So what are you gonna do in response to this silly squabble, Greece? Wait, what? So Greece rolls up to the United Nations right as they're scrambling to handle the tons of new countries being plumed into existence with the collapse of the Soviet Union, and they declare, "We do not want to recognize Macedonia as a country and will do everything in our power to block their ascension into the United Nations." To which literally every other nation there said, "Ha ha 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 ha." Oh wait, you're serious. Greece, being the big dog that they are, somewhat managed to actually win this one, eventually budging a little bit once the UN made Macedonia change the name on their placard to Fyrom, for the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. Greece also forbid the flag of Macedonia with the Virgina sun from flying alongside literally every other nation on Earth, they were so mad about it. For reference, even North Korea doesn't have too much of a problem with the South flying their flag at the UN, and they don't even believe that they're separate countries. So Macedonia goes home, wondering how to get Greece to stop bothering them, and they come up with an idea. They'll change their flag to a less obvious rendition of the Virgina sun so Greece won't get mad at them. Greece is actually fine with this flag and lets them fly it at the UN, agreeing to start peace talks between the two over this dispute, and they sign a treaty. Macedonia agrees to work with them on the whole name thing so long as they don't block them from entering any more organizations. Greece is happy with this treaty, and immediately throws it into a burning fire and runs off to the EU. Hey EU, you know that Macedonia guy? Yeah, he's up for ascension into the EU. Why? Don't. Why? Because we invented souvlaki. Well, that sounds reasonable to me. So the EU wouldn't let Macedonia in, and they're pretty furious that Greeks broke the treaty faster than you can say, dialectical materialistiken. So they say, well, we gave peace a chance, and renamed their capital's international airport to Alexander the Great Airport, their road leading into Greece to Alexander of Macedon, and just generally assert their dominance. They even sue Greece for breaking the treaty and win, which you think would be enough of a hint for Greece to cut it out already, but no, they double down. They double down hard. First, they swing over by NATO and give them the old, hey, if you ever let Macedonia in here, I'll kill your entire family. And swing right out, preventing Macedonia from ascending there too. Then they smack Macedonia with a trade embargo, preventing them from doing business with their direct neighbors to the south. The impact of this was financially devastating to Macedonia. Costs totaled around $1 to $3 million of financial loss, which for a struggling post-Yugoslav state was pretty bad news. There is a genuine chance that someone in poverty died because of this financial instability. There is a high chance that this name dispute killed people. I'd also like to point out that Greece uses the Greek alphabet and Macedonia uses Cyrillic, so the name Macedonia in Greece looks like this, and in Macedonian it looks like this. They are outright pronounced differently depending on which alphabet you use, and neither of them use the English alphabet. The embargo didn't last very long because the entire world realized that it was kind of a jerk thing to do, and the United States swooped in and gave them the old, "Yeah, that dumb of an embargo? That's not very freedom of you." Hey, wait a minute. So they reeled that back a little, and the UN decided, you know what, if you aren't going to get along, then I'm going to give you a babysitter, and got them a mediator to discuss the conflict with. Again, for reference, North Korea and South Korea do not have a UN mediator. It's just these two, and their name shenanigans. So the two finally sit down and talk it out, albeit very unproductively for most of the time, and over the course of 3 decades, they finally settle on a new name. North Macedonia. It's not painless, and there's a few bumps along the road to diplomacy, but in 2018 it was officially ratified as the country's new name. So, despite all the hardships, the two neighboring countries finally settled on a solution, and they become the greatest of friends, just like all close neighbors are. Just kidding, this is the Balkans, they still hate each other. Hey, thanks for watching. I know this video is kind of weird and kind of off, but I had a script lying around from 2 years ago, and all of the slides were already done, and the 10th video in the series is taking a little bit longer than I was expecting. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the little secret project that I'm working on. Hope you enjoyed, hope you subscribed, hope you shared it around, and see you next time.